topic for today is about the SSS maternity benefit. No? Okay, so first and foremost, let us define what a maternity benefit is. It is a daily cash allowance granted to a female member who is unable to work due to childbirth or miscarriage or emergency termination of pregnancy. So this is the essence or definition of the maternity benefit, and this is based on the IRR or the implementing rules and regulations of the expanded maternity leave law. So ma'am, ano ba expanded maternity leave law? So this is a national law. It is not a law of SSS. It's a national law wherein SSS as one of the implementing agencies. We have revised our rules and regulations vis-a-vis the IRR of this law or RA 11210 or EMLL. All right. So the date of signing of this law took place February 20, 2019. It was published on February 23. Then the date of effectivity took place 15 days after the publication. So that's March 11, 2019. Meaning to say, all those female members who got or who had live childbirth or had miscarriage on or after March 11, 2019 onwards are covered under this expanded maternity leave law or EMLL or RA 11210. Then after that, April 5, 2023, public consultation meetings for the IRR took place and the ceremonial signing happened on May 1, 2019, no, Labor Day naman of 2019. Question, ma'am, paano po yung mga March 10, 11:59 PM? Kasama pa ba dito sa EMLL natin? Unfortunately, hindi po, no? But sabi nga natin, meron pong purpose ang lahat. There's a reason to everything, no? But hanggang March 10, 11:59 PM, under pa sila ng law ni SSS, no? SS law, particularly on the maternity benefit. So kung ano po ang rules and regulations natin under that particular maternity benefit, yun po ang mag-apply. But to those female members who have given birth or had miscarriage on or after March 11, 2019, ito na po ang applicable sa inyo na rules, no, or guidelines as to the maternity benefit. And that is what we're gonna learn for this morning. Okay? So this maternity benefit vis-a-vis the EMLL, ang covered po ng program na ito ay all female workers in the public sector, in the private sector, even those in the informal economy, as well as our voluntary contributors to the SSS and even female national athletes who have given birth, either cesarean ka man or normal delivery, basta buhay ang bata inilabas sa sinapupunan, or even those who unfortunately had miscarriage or emergency termination of pregnancy, including stillbirth. And we give this benefit regardless of civil status, married man or not ang ating female member to the child's father, regardless of employment status, JO, casual, regular, or rank and file, supervisory, managerial. So wala tayong differentiation doon, no? As long as you are our member and you have met our qualifying conditions. Regardless of legitimacy of the child, we won't go into those details. So what's important is that you are qualified for this benefit. And most importantly, participants, regardless of frequency of pregnancy. So mga participants natin ngayon dito sa webinar session, baka yung iba sa inyo ay naka-avail na ng SSS Maternity Benefit prior the implementation of EMLL, no? Baka 2012, kaya years back. Kung maaalala ninyo, meron tayong up to maximum of 4 number of pregnancies ang ating binibilang, kasama dyan yung miscarriage. So, pagkatapos ng 4, tapos na, hindi ka na makakuha ng benefit, naalala nyo yun. But, right now po, no, following the implementation of the Expanded Maternity Leave Law, RA 11210, regardless of frequency, ay pwede na po mag-avail ang benefit nito. Meaning to say, kahit every year, ay manganak ang isang kababaihan. No? Not everybody, but a majority or there are some female members na talagang childbearing sila. So at least you would know that you can depend on the SSS maternity benefit dahil ngayon po, regardless of frequency of pregnancy na ang ating usapin. Okay? So what are the qualifying conditions? Actually, there are 2. First one, contributions. The female member must have paid at least 3 monthly contributions in the 12-month period immediately preceding the semester of contingency. Second, the female member must have notified her employer of her pregnancy and the expected date of her childbirth. Okay? So meaning to say, kung kayo po ay employed member, sa mga participants natin na employed member, you have to notify your employer so that your employer will notify SSS. Question, ma'am. Kailan ko po ba i-inform ang aking employer? Once that you have confirmed that you are pregnant, once you have confirmed na nagdadalang tao ka, no? So do notify right away your employer so that your employer will notify SSS right away also. Eh ma'am, paano po? Ngayon po sa webinar na ito, ako ay nakikinig pero hindi po ako employed member. Ako po ay isang voluntary member ni SSS. Paano po ako mag-notify? So your notification will be directly already, will be made directly to the SSS. So directly po kayo mag-notify sa amin. Alright, so what are the benefits under this EMLL? Number one, paid leave benefit granted to a qualified female worker in the public and private sector for the duration of 105 days. Any instance of live childbirth, normal or cesarean, regardless, no? If it's a normal or cesarean, basta buhay ang batang inilabas sa sinapupunan, no? Live childbirth. Kapag naman po solo parents, following RA number 8972 or the Solo Parents Welfare Act, 120 days naman po ang ating pinag-uusapan, no? Dahil merong additional 15 days, 15 calendar days. At kapag naman miscarriage or emergency termination of pregnancy, including stillbirth, 60 days naman po ang ating pinag-uusapan. Question. Ma'am, dati meron kayo naalala ko 'no, normal 60 days, cesarean 78. Bakit parang wala dito iyon? Kasi po dahil nga dito sa ating expanded maternity leave law, in-expand natin 'no, in-extend yung maternity benefit na maaaring ma-consume ng isang female member. Dahil babalik at babalik tayo sa rasyonale ng batas na ito. It is for the mother to take care of the child, especially during the formative years, and for her to assume her maternal role, no? Kahit siya isang working mom, ay ma-function niya yung pagiging mother and for her to recuperate from the childbirth. So kung titignan nyo, really empowering our women na makapagpagaling siya from the delivery, from the childbirth, or let's say miscarriage, and for her to take care of her child, no? Really to empower our female members. Happy Women's Month po ulit sa ating lahat. Okay? So with that, no, hindi na tayo 60 days or 70 days dahil ang pinag-uusapan na po natin ay regardless of that, basta buhay ang batang inilabas sa sinapupunan, 105 days po ang ibibigay natin under this EMLL. For our employed female workers, kung kayo ay isang female member ni SSS na employed, kayo po ay makakatanggap ng full pay which consists of two factors. The SSS maternity benefit and the salary differential to be paid by the employer. SSS maternity benefit, this is reimbursable to SSS at the end of the day. While the salary differential, ito po ay shouldered na by the employer. So, dalawang factors po or dalawang components ang full pay ng isang employed female worker. Second benefit is the option to extend for additional 30 days without pay in case of live childbirth, provided that the employer shall be given due notice 45 days before the termination of the 105-day leave. Why do we have to give advance notice sa ating employer? Kasi para naman it takes two to tango, right? So the employer shall grant this benefit because it's an option under the EMLL to extend. Let's say, no, wala pa pong mag-aalaga or kaya feeling ko po hindi pa sapat yung 105-day leave ko. So may option si female member. In return, the employer will grant this following the law. But syempre po, let's also help our employer to prepare na may reliever dapat dun sa work mo. O kaya kailangan ayusin natin yung deliverables na assigned sa'yo kasi baka mamaya what you call this, disrupt naman sa operations ng inyong company. Kaya very important ay ang communication between the employee and the employer. So always make sure no, na mag-advise mo kayo sa inyong employer kung may option kayo or may plano kayo to extend for additional 30 days without pay. Okay? Third benefit, paid maternity leave and allowances and benefits granted to female national athletes and healthcare services for prenatal, delivery, postpartum, and pregnancy-related conditions as governed by the existing rules and regulations of the PhilHealth. So as I've mentioned a while ago, meron tayong notification rule, no? It's one of the two qualifying conditions. So as we have explained, kung kayo ay employed female worker, through the employer, then to the SSS. Now, kapag kayo naman ang self-employed, voluntary, OFW, or non-working spouse, directly to SSS ang inyong notification. So how will you notify? By using your my.sss account. So for our employed female workers, sabihan nyo lang po ang inyong employer, and the employer will notify SSS through the company's my.sss account, particularly under the e-services tab. Kung kayo naman ay voluntary member, buksan lang po ang my.sss account ninyo, and also under the e-services tab, you may submit your maternity notification. Another option, if you have your SSS mobile app, buksan lang po ang mobile app natin and click on the maternity notification para kayo po ay makasubmit ng inyong notification to SSS. As to the amount of maternity benefit, so this is a daily cash allowance equivalent to 100% of female members' average daily salary credit for a compensable period of 105, 120, or 60 days as the case may be. Ito yung SSS maternity benefit na ating pinag-uusapan. Meanwhile, for our salary differential, shouldered po ito ng ating employer. Question, ma'am. Sabi meron daw exemptions in giving the salary differential. Yes, you heard that right, no? There are 4 reasons para kayo ay ma-exempt from giving the salary differential. Ano-ano ito? Number 1, distress establishment. Number 2, retail service establishments with not more than 10 workers. Number 3, microbusiness enterprises with total assets of not more than 3 million. Number 4, those with similar or more than the proposed benefit. So these are the reasons para ma-exempt si employer in giving salary differential, okay? But kung nakikita nyo ngayon, no, naku, mukhang pasok yung company ko kay distress establishment or mukhang dito ako papasok sa may microbusiness enterprises with total assets of not more than 3 million. So it's good na makikita nyo na kaagad, but hindi nyo po kaagad-agad masasabi na exempted kayo. Kailangan ay may approval yan ng DOLE. So mag-a-apply po kayo for exemption. Okay? Once approved ng DOLE ang inyong exemption, tsaka pa lang ninyo masasabi na exempted talaga kayo from giving the salary differential. But until wala po yung approval from DOLE certifying that you are exempted from giving the salary differential, a company cannot say na siya ay exempted. Okay? I hope we're clear on that. So, kailangan pa rin magbigay ng salary differential. As to the manner of payment, ito parating na itatanong sa atin. Kailan po ba naman ibibigay ang maternity benefit? Alam niyo po ba that the maternity benefit, so kapag employed female worker, no, dalawa yung factors yan, the maternity SSS maternity benefit and the salary differential, must be advanced by the employer within 30 days from the filing of the maternity leave application. Alright? Ma'am, maternity leave application, is this the same na maternity notification? Hindi po. Si maternity notification, sinasubmit nyo yan online, di ba? Through the employer kung kayo ay employed. Once that you have confirmed that you are pregnant, right? It is to notify SSS. Meanwhile, ito pong maternity leave application, this is already the leave application that you submit to your office na kayo ay mag-leave na. So yun po yun ha. So once you have filed for that, the latter one, Within 30 days ay kailangan i-advance ni employer ang kanyang full maternity benefit pay. Question, Miss Pat. Meron po kasi kaming female employee. Ang kanyang request ay staggered na lang po namin ibigay yung kanyang maternity benefit para daw po matulungan namin siya mag-ipon. Kaya mag-save up at hindi po niya magastos ito ng one big time. It's nice, no, that you have that kind of intention, no, to help the employee. Maganda po yan, talagang extra mile of helping your employees. But, dear participants, for the safety also of the company, let's just follow the law. Kasi baka po mamaya masanctionan pa kayo. So, let's just follow what's written in the guidelines to advance it within 30 days and let the female employee take care of the money already on how she will be using it. But on the part of the employer, i-advance po natin na yan para tayo po ay compliant sa rules and regulations itong EMLL or RA 11210, okay? And meanwhile, as I've been mentioning a while ago, kung ang ating female member naman ay walang employer, hindi siya employed, siya ay voluntary member, OFW, or non-working spouse, she will be getting the benefit directly from SSS, the SSS Maternity Benefit. Okay? With regard to the manner of enjoyment of the maternity benefit, alam nyo ba na itong benefit na ito must be availed of in a continuous and uninterrupted manner, wherein it can be credited as a combination of prenatal, that's the period before giving birth, and postnatal, the period after you have given birth, as long as it does not exceed 105 days, 120 days, or 60 days as the case may be. I hope okay pa kayo mga participants, so you can jot down your questions kung meron man. Baka ma-discuss pa natin, no? Baka sa susunod na slides yan ang ating i-discuss. Or you can place them in the chat facility later once we open already the facility, alright? So as I was saying, the consumption of the maternity leave benefit can be credited as a combination of prenatal and postnatal, but the caveat is that the postnatal care shall not be less than 60 days, meaning to say kung 105 days ang nakalaan sa'yo, 60 days ay para sa iyong postnatal care, agad-agad yun, no? At least 60 days yan. Then you have 45 days to consume for your prenatal, the period before you give birth. So, dyan yung mga bed rest, check-ups, di ba? Mga may morning sickness, hindi ka makapasok. So, you have 45 days to consume, for your prenatal. But, if you would want naman na yung buong 105 days ay after you have given birth, okay na okay lang din. We're just giving you, our members, an option na pwede po siya gamitin as a combination of prenatal and postnatal care. And this is granted in every instance of pregnancy, miscarriage, or emergency termination of pregnancy, regardless of frequency. Question. Ma'am, twins, triplets, quadruplets, quintuplets, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5 po ba ang maternity benefit? Hindi po, no? Ang binibilang natin dito ay ilang beses ba nagbuntis ang isang kababaihan, the number of pregnancies, not the number of offspring. 'Di ba? Pag twins or triplets, one pregnancy pa rin naman po 'yun, 'di ba? So, one lang po, one maternity benefit pa rin ang ating ibibigay sa ating female employee regardless of the number of offspring. Lugi ba? Hindi naman po, no? So, 'yun po, no? 'Yun yung binibilang natin, the number of pregnancy. So for more illustration, no, the employer shall advance the benefit to the employee within 30 days from the filing of the maternity leave application. Then the employer shall reimburse 100%, no? Kung magkano po ang kanyang ibinigay na SSS maternity benefit, yan po ay reimbursable kay SSS. So ngayon, tutungo na tayo sa bahagi na paano naman po ang reimbursement process ng employer kay SSS, no? Paano natin i-reimburse ito? So, effective September 1, 2021, no? Mandatory na po ang online filing of the maternity benefit application and the maternity benefit reimbursement application. So, step by step po ito ipapakita natin sa mga susunod na mga slides. Okay? So, first po muna ay maternity benefit reimbursement application. So how do we submit this online? Step number 1, log in to your my.sss employer account. So, ilagay po ang yung user ID and password, then click the submit button. Then, step number 2, go to your e-services tab. At pagka-click ng e-services, i-click po natin itong naka-yellow highlight which reads Submit Maternity Benefit Reimbursement Application. So, i-click po yan. Then, you read the reminders carefully. So, meron po dyan guides na you can click to see the documentary requirements. Nandyan po yung mga iba't ibang mga documentary requirements na pwedeng ipasa in lieu of the different documentary requirements. And all you have to do is to click on the X button at the top right corner to close the window and go back to the previous screen. Then after that, no, the employer will encode the required information, the SS number of the female member or the female employee, the date of delivery, miscarriage, or ETP, and the number of pregnancy. So, indicate nyo lang po, i-encode dyan sa ating mga company representatives on board. Isulat lang po dyan. Then, click on the proceed button to continue. After which, you are to encode the additional required information. What is the type of claim? What is the start of the maternity benefit? No, and the amount for reimbursement. So, kailangan nyo po ilagay dyan kung magkano po ang inyong in advance sa inyong employee para alam namin no, kung magkano ang i-reimburse. After which, click on the proceed button to continue. Step number 9, no, you can check the details stated. Check nyo maigi kung tama ba ang details na nandiyan for our company representatives. Then, on behalf of your employee, you would have to upload the required documents. So, ano ba yung mga kailangan documents? Proof of advance payment, proof of pregnancy, and employer certification if necessary. Okay? So, kailangan nyo po i-upload yan dahil yan po ang aming magiging basihan sa pag-reimburse sa inyo ng nai-advance nyong maternity benefit. Okay? So, kung gusto nyo pong makita yung reminders, no, may reminders dyan. So, you would be guided. Ano ba yung important reminders? Make sure na yung i-upload po ninyo na documents ay readable. Kung sa end nyo pa lang ay napansin nyo na, ako, hindi readable ito, hindi po magiging readable din sa amin. Iyon, okay? So, make sure that the document is readable, colored image, in PDF format, wherein the maximum file size is 2 MB, okay? Meanwhile, if the document has been issued in a foreign country, it should be submitted with English translation para po maintindihan natin yung nakasulat sa dokumentong iyon. Alright? And the like, now we have the other reminders stated here so you can read on this one. Then after you have after you have read everything, click on the X button at the top right corner to close the window. Then, ito po, no, for more information, kung nakikita nyo kanina dito, sa uploading natin, may letter I icon. That's for additional information. So, kung medyo unsure kayo, kung ano po ba i-upload kung documentary requirement bilang proof of advance payment. So, pwede nyo i-click yung I icon. Then, makikita nyo na, for advance payment pala. Pwede ang i-upload ko dito ay cash voucher received by the female member. Or pwede rin pala yung copy of the payslip with proof of credit or transfer to female member's bank account. Or kapag employer certification naman, let's say, no, yung inyong empleyado, in advance nyo yung kanyang maternity benefit, pero hindi na bumalik, hindi na submit yung mga dokumento pa, so you may upload a certificate stating that the employee no longer returned back to work after giving birth or having miscarriage or ETP, okay? Once you're done, click on the X button. Then you read carefully the following reminders under the certification part. And if you agree, click on the I certify and submit button to proceed. Take note of the generated transaction details, and this will be emailed to your email address that you have registered in SSS. So check your inbox for an email notification from SSS about the submitted maternity benefit reimbursement application. So that's the first one. Kaya yan po yung mangyayari sa atin 'no, para sa maternity benefit reimbursement application. At yung kanina pong diniscuss natin, yan ay very important to our employers dahil dati po sanay na sanay kayo na magpapasa tayo through online 'no, ay through the branch rather, na magfi-fill up ng MAT2, 'di ba, yan ang alam na alam natin na form. At ipapasa yan sa branch together with the supporting documents. But right now, yan po ay ginagawa na online, mandatory online submission of the maternity benefit reimbursement application. Okay? So ngayon naman po itutungo tayo sa second part at ito ay maternity benefit application online naman for our voluntary members, self-employed, OFW, non-working spouse. Wala silang employer unlike yung kanina natin diniscuss. So kapag ganito, sabi natin, 'di ba, that the benefit will be filed directly to the SSS, no? But before moving to this particular module, very important to remember sa ating mga employers and employees, dito sa diniscuss natin na maternity benefit reimbursement application, meron pong part dyan na mag-notify kay employee, no? Kung natanggap ba niya talaga, nai-advance ba talaga sa kanya ang nasabing benepisyo. So, very important na ma-certify din yung employee na natanggap po niya ang nasabing benefit para mag-proceed ang application. Okay? So now, as I was saying, para po ito sa mga voluntary members natin, self-employed, OFW, and non-working spouse, paano naman po tayo mag-a-apply ng maternity benefit application online? Similar to what we did a while ago, kailangan lang po is to log in to your my.sss account. Ito naman, member login, hindi na employer dahil wala po kayong employer. So log in your user ID and password. Then click on the submit button to continue. Then under the e-services tab, click on the submit maternity benefit application, the one in yellow highlight. Once you have clicked on that, you read the reminders, kagaya kanina. Then click on the proceed button to continue. So after you have saved the list of requirements, you may click on the X button at the top right corner to close the window. Then encode the necessary details, your date of delivery, dahil ikaw mismo yung sumasagot, and the number of pregnancies. Then click on the proceed button to continue. After which, you have to encode more information such as your type of claim, live childbirth ba, solo parent ba, with allocated leave credits ba? Kasi 'di ba under this expanded maternity leave law, later we have a particular slide on it, no? But just for you to see it already at this particular slide, allocated leave, ano ba yan? Under the EMLL, meron tayong tinatawag na allocation of leave credit. So if you would be allocating a portion of your leave credits up to a maximum number of 7 leave credits, dito nyo po ilalagay, no, kung kayo ay magkasubmit ng maternity benefit application. But sa notification part pa lang kasi, ini-include nyo na yan. Okay, sa initial filing nyo sa amin pag notify. But sa dulo, like for our employers also, and in this particular maternity benefit application, you would still have to indicate, no, kung kayo ba ay nag-allocate or not, or kung kayo ba ay nagka-suffer na miscarriage or ETP or stillbirth. And you would have to select your particular disbursement account para alam po namin kung saan po i-disburse ang inyong maternity benefit. Then click on the proceed button to continue. After which you would have to upload the required documents. So you would have to upload a proof of pregnancy or proof of termination of pregnancy, whichever is applicable. Then there are reminders again. Always remember po, maximum file size is 2 MB. May iba kasi kaming nakukuha na mga questions na bakit po ayaw basahin, no? Ayaw ma-upload yung PDF ko. Kasi po meron tayo cap na 2 MB para mabasa po ng ating system. So make sure na yung size niya, no, the file size, you can check that in the information of that particular document, ay 2 MB po. Okay? Then, like po kanina, if you would want to know the description of each documentary requirement, you would just have to click on the eye icon para makita nyo ano ba pwede ko ipasa dito, no? Like the proof of pregnancy. Pwede po ba ma'am yung test kit, yung mismong PT? So, hindi po pwede yun, no? Yung mismong PT kasi paano natin malalaman na baka pinicturean tapos yun yung in-upload. Pero paano natin malalaman na some female member po yun, no? Wala naman dun DNA, tapos yung pangalan niya na-appear. So, ang pwede niyo pong i-submit dyan ay any document, the result of pregnancy test, duly signed by a licensed physician or municipal health officer and other authorized people, okay? So, kailangan po licensed sila na may certification na talagang nagdadalang tao po ang female member. Or ultrasound, nandun yung pangalan niya, di ba? Blood pregnancy test or early pregnancy factor. Those that can really attest and support sa claim that you are pregnant, okay? So, pag termination of pregnancy naman, results also duly signed by a licensed doctor. All right, then certification, read it, and if you agree, click on the I certify and submit button to proceed. Tapos po ay mag-generate yan ng transaction details. So make sure to take note of it and check your inbox for an email notification from SSS about your maternity benefit application. So, una natin din-discuss, just a recap, ay ang ano ba ang maternity benefit, followed by the eligibility requirements, the manner of payment, then we understood, no, or we learned na kapag ikaw ay employed, dadaan sa employer ang notification, i-advance ng employer ang iyong benefit within 30 days upon filing the maternity leave application, then mag-reimburse niya iyon. So, online filing, ma-reimburse niya ang in advance na maternity benefit kay SSS, okay? Meanwhile, kapag kayo ay voluntary members, self-employed, OFW, and non-working spouse, directly kayo magpa-file kay SSS through the online filing of the maternity benefit application. And now, itong part naman po na ito, alam ko marami rin nagtatanong, ay ang sample computation. Ma'am, parati rin natatanong din sa opisina, paano po ba nako-compute yung maternity benefit ni SSS? Meron po ba yung formula? So yes, no, meron tayong standard formula na ginagamit para sa ating computation ng maternity benefit. So take note, ang aaralin natin dito ay yung dalawang factors, no, kasi may mga participants tayo na employed female members dito sa webinar, and we also have some participants who are voluntary members. So I will walk you through on how you can compute for the SSS maternity benefit and the salary differential to be paid by the employer. But it is best that we first know what a quarter means dahil parati po sa ating computation, we need to know the semester of contingency. And the semester of contingency ay composed of 2 quarters. The current quarter plus the preceding quarter. So, kailangan alamin natin paano ba kinukuha yung quarter. So, a quarter in SSS refers to 3 consecutive months ending the months of March, June, September, and December. For more illustration, first quarter, January, February, March. Second quarter, April, May, June. Third quarter, July, August, September. Fourth quarter, October, November, December. So we have 4 quarters in a year. Question, Miss Pat, is this movable? No, it's not movable po, no? Yan po talaga yung ating fixed quarterings in SSS. Okay? So now that we know what a quarter means, semester naman. Na-mention ko na kanina that the semester is composed of 2 consecutive quarters, current quarter of contingency, plus the preceding quarter of contingency. In total, first semester, January to June 2019. Second semester, April to September 2019. Then July to December 2019. Then October 2019 to March 2020. Siyempre po pwede niyong palitan yung taon. Ito po ay para lamang sa ating example. But like sa ating quarterings, this cannot be moved already. Okay? So how do we compute for the SSS maternity benefit? Well, first, we exclude the semester of contingency composed of 2 quarters. Then we select the 6 highest monthly salary credits within the 12-month period immediately preceding the semester of contingency. Then we divide the total monthly salary credit by 180 to get the average daily salary credit. Then lastly, multiply this by 105 days, 120 days, or 60 days as the case may be. So you can have it screenshot this particular slide or you can take a photo of it para sa ating susunod na sample computation. Tandaan nating maigi, okay? So for our sample computation, let's solve this together. Juana de la Cruz gave birth last July 1, 2020. Normal delivery siya. So pag normal delivery, 105 days din ang ating usapin, di ba? So first, we must identify the semester of contingency. Semester of contingency, 2 quarters. Ano ba ang kanyang current quarter of contingency? That is July, di ba? July ay siya ay nanganak. So, ang kanyang current quarter ay July, August, September, the third quarter. So, to get a semester, you would have to include the immediately preceding quarter. And in this sample, that is from April to June 2020. Meaning to say, the semester of contingency ay naka-orange po, no? Na April 2020 up to September 2020. In computing for this particular maternity benefit, we would have to exclude that particular semester of contingency and look at the 12-month period immediately preceding that semester. In 12-month period po in this case ay mga blue filled cells. In that 12-month period, meron ba siyang mga hulog? Kasi sabi natin, sa ating qualifying condition ay kailangan merong 3 hulog at least. Meron ba? Yes, no? As a matter of fact, 12 monthly contributions siya within that period. Now, we would have to select the 6 highest monthly contributions, monthly salary credits rather, in that particular 12-month period. So let's select the 6 highest monthly salary credit and get the sum. So add it up, we will be able to get 120,000 as the total monthly salary credits. Then divide that by the constant 180 to get the average daily salary credit of 666.67. And then multiply that by the number of days. Ano ba yung applicable? Kapag normal delivery, di ba sabi natin, regardless if it's a normal or cesarean delivery, basta live childbirth, 105 days. So the amount of the SSS maternity benefit is 70,000 pesos. Okay? So that's how we compute for the SSS maternity benefit. Question, ma'am, is this taxable? No, no? The benefits that we give are not taxable. So you get the entire amount. Okay? So, second part lang, kasi employed po ako. No? Sabi niyo, pag employed, bukod sa SSS maternity benefit, ay may salary differential din tayong matatanggap. So, how do we compute for that? Step number 1, dear participants, is for you to determine the amount of full pay. So, the formula to get the full pay is equal to daily rate times factor divided by 12 multiplied by the maternity period in months. Take note. Kanina sa SSS maternity benefit, maternity period in days, di ba? Kung ilan yung days na applicable sa'yo, 105, 120, or 60 days as the case may be. But in getting the salary differential, maternity period in months. So kung 105 days yan, 3.5 months ang ating pinag-uusapan. Kung 120, 4 months ang ating pinag-uusapan naman. Kapag 60 days, edi 2 months. Alright? Whichever is applicable. Ma'am, what is the factor? What factor are we talking about? Factor differs in every company. So kung ano po ang ginagamit ninyong factor sa inyong payroll, yan po ang gagamitin ninyong factor for this maternity benefit. If you are unsure, you may ask Dole because it's unique for every company depending upon your work background or work nature. So iba-iba po yan. But for this particular example, no, and for the information of everybody, let's say sa inyong office ay may 1 rest day, 313 ang factor na ginagamit natin. If may 2 rest days, 261 naman. So it will really depend. So you would have to check sa inyong payroll and dole if you are unsure. But in this particular example, kay Juana, 313 ang kanyang factor at ang daily rate niya ay 1,280 pesos. So applying the given, all the data given in this particular example of Juana de la Cruz, so ilagay natin siya sa formula. So that would be 1,280 daily rate times 313 factor divided by 12 times 3.5 months. Ang kanyang full pay ay 116,853.33. But no, there's more. Hindi pa yan yung salary differential na ating ibibigay. Step number 1 pa lang yan. For our step number 2, you would have to determine, or the employer would have to determine the amount of social contributions, the employee's share in particular, to be incurred by the female member during the time, no, for the whole duration na siya ay naka-maternity leave. So, sabihin natin yung 105 days, kunin mo na agad yung kanyang magiging social contributions consisting of the SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig. Question, ma'am, ito ba yung statutory benefits? Yes, no, ito po iyon. So, compute yun na employee share to be incurred in the next 3.5 months. So, once you got the total amount for the social contributions, you would have to deduct that from the earlier computed full pay. So that would be 116,853.33 minus 4,786.25. Then you get 112,067 peso and 8 centavos. Okay? So hindi pa rin po yan ang salary differential. I-park lang muna natin. Then for step number 3, you would have to compute for the SSS maternity benefit. So kanina nag-compute na tayo. Kung naalala nyo yung steps, no? So let's say nakuha mo na following ang ating step-by-step procedure a while ago. So the maternity benefit is 70,000. Then for step number 4, you would have to deduct the computed 70,000 SSS maternity benefit from the full pay less social contributions. So in this case, Juana de la Cruz, that would be 112,067 peso and 8 centavos minus 70,000 pesos SSS maternity benefit. Then you get the salary differential of 42,067 pesos and 8 centavos. So ngayon, yan yung salary differential na isa-shoulder ng employer. Then sa manner of payment, ano po ba yung i-advance natin within 30 days? For Juana de la Cruz, that would be the SSS maternity benefit of 70,000, which is reimbursable 100% to SSS, plus the salary differential to be paid by the employer na 42,067 peso and 8 centavos. So that would be what you call this, that would have to be advanced to the employee within 30 days upon filing the maternity leave application. Okay? Clear ba tayo dyan? I hope clear or na-clarify ang mga tanong, no, as to the computation for the maternity benefit. So don't worry, you'd be able to get a copy of this presentation material once you have accomplished the evaluation form. So make sure to click on the link later that our moderator will talk about or remind you, after or towards the end of the presentation. Okay? Then for our last module on the other provisions, as I've mentioned a while ago under the EMLL, meron pong usapin ng allocation of maternity leave credits wherein the female member has the option to allocate up to a maximum number of 7 calendar days, either to the child's father or alternate caregiver. So let me emphasize, not necessarily calendar, but working days rather, 7 working days kung saan, kung a female member, let's say, sa tingin niya ay, ang tatay naman na mag-aalaga, sharing kami dito eh. So, ang mangyayari, may option siya, yung 105 days, pwede niya ipasa yung 7 days portion na iyon sa father, child's father. Not necessarily married, so married or not to the female member, pwede yang ipasa. But in the absence of the child's father, pwede itong ipasa to an alternate caregiver. Sino naman po yung alternate caregiver? A relative or a current partner sharing the same household. So kahit same sexual orientation, ang current partner as long as they're living in the same household. Why, ma'am? what is the objective of this allocation of maternity leave credits? So, babalik at babalik tayo sa aim ng batas na ito to take care of the child. So, sharing ito na partnership between the mother and the father, or the relative and the mother, or the current partner and the mother, tulungan po sila in taking care of the child. At syempre, itong allocation ay maibibigay lang natin kapag live childbirth po ang pinag-uusapan. Kasi kung miscarriage or ETP, wala tayong pag-uusapang allocation dahil wala po silang alaga ang bata. So kapag live childbirth po, magiging applicable itong allocation natin of maternity leave credits. So I mentioned a while ago na maximum number ay 7 days. Yes, you got that right. Meaning to say, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days ay pwede nyong ipasa. Not necessarily 7 because that's just the maximum. Take note. Sabi natin, no, yung 105 days, 120, 60 days for the female member, we're talking about calendar days as the paid leave benefit. But for this allocation of maternity leave credits, working days po ang pinag-uusapan natin. Second, sa ating female members, sinabi natin na kailangan the maternity benefit must be consumed continuously in an uninterrupted manner. Meanwhile, this allocated maternity leave credits na ipapasa leave natin, no? Pasa leave ang ating colloquial term dyan, this can be taken, let's say, no, 7 days ang pinasa sa inyo. Pwede pong hindi straight na 7 days i-consume, no? This can be consumed intermittently, let's say 4 days muna dito and then 3 days sa next. Ang important lang po dyan ay dapat ma-consume ito within the 105-day leave ng female member natin. Okay? So that's what we talk about, or that's what we mean by the allocation of the maternity leave credit. Another question na parati nating nakukuha dito sa allocation, ma'am, is this convertible to cash? So unlike sa ating benefit for our female members, which is convertible to cash, ito pong allocated leave, it's not convertible to cash. It's just a leave credit with pay on top of the paternity leave following the paternity leave law. So that's not under SSS, but we know no, the companies are giving this paternity leave. So the paternity leave ay para sa legally married couples. But what we are emphasizing is that this particular allocation naman, which we give on top of the paternity leave, ay binibigay natin ito sa ating female members regardless if they're married or not to the child's father. Okay? With regard to death or permanent incapacity of the female member, paano naman po ang gagawin natin dito? So the benefit shall accrue to the child's father or to a qualified alternate caregiver if the maternity leave benefit has not yet been settled, or subject to submission of proof of member's death or incapacity and compliance to applicable SSS rules, and in case the maternity leave benefits have already been paid to the deceased or permanently incapacitated female worker in full, so di ba in advance na yung benepisyo sa female member, kaso unfortunately, no, namatay siya or naging incapacitated, so ang mangyayari po, the child's father or alternate caregiver shall be entitled to enjoy the remaining unexpired leave credits of the female member, if any, without pay. Ma'am, paano naman po, no, kung na-separate from employment, paano yung pagbibigay ng maternity benefit? So take note that the full pay is granted even if the childbirth, miscarriage, or ETP occurs not more than 15 calendar days. So let's say you got terminated from your company, then within 15 calendar days ay nanganak kayo, so sagutin pa rin po yun ng company, if not more than 15 calendar days after the termination from service. Meanwhile, kung ikaw ay female worker with pending administrative case, bibigyan ka pa rin ng maternity leave benefits ng inyong company. Then, ito, madami nagtatanong, no? Tungkol sa non-diminution of benefits. So, ang ating rule of thumb po dyan, no? Ang example nito, meron po kaming malaking package na for the maternity benefit. Tapos may EMLL benefits pa. Paano po yun? So, the existing maternity benefits currently enjoyed under CBA, CNA, or present laws shall not be removed, and any other working arrangement which the female member shall agree to and consented to in writing. So, dapat walang non-diminution of benefits. Okay? As to the security of tenure, ito madaming concern dito. Paano yun, ma'am? Baka sa sobrang ganda ng benefits for our female members, ay hindi na po tumanggap or mawalan ng security of tenure ang mga kababaihan. Take note that all female workers who availed of the maternity benefit shall be assured of the security of tenure. Hindi siya pwedeng gawing basis for demotion in employment or even termination. Hindi pwedeng maging basihan yan. And let's say, no, dahil ikaw ay mag-leave for the next 3.5 months, sasabihin sa'yo ng boss mo, ililipat muna kita ng organizational unit ha, para may mag-relieve muna, no, para hindi maapektuhan ng ating operations. Okay lang naman yun, no, that would be allowed for as long as that transfer to another unit or reassignment or transfer to another position ay wala pong implication of a reduction in rank, salary, or status. Okay? So kung walang ganoon, pwede pong mangyari yan, no? Transfer to another unit or to a parallel position. And also, no, very important, hindi pwedeng mag-discriminate ang mga companies natin in hiring female members, female workers in both the public and private sector just to avoid the maternity leave benefit. So, kailangan pa rin po na hindi po pwede na maging rason yun. Kakasabihin lang ako, ang aming i-open na positions ay para lang po sa mga kalalakihan, no? Kasi medyo kapag women ang aming hinar ay malulugi kami sa maternity leave benefits. Don't worry. To our female members or female participants in this particular webinar session, you are protected by this law, the RA 11210, kasi nakalagay talaga dito, very specific, na hindi pwede na mag-stop mag-hire, no? No employer shall discriminate against the employment just to avoid giving out this maternity leave benefits, okay? Some of the liabilities of an employer kapag nag-fail siya na ma-remit kay SSS ang required contributions of the female worker or member. So, liability yan. Kasi sabi natin kanina, ang contributions ay isa sa qualifying conditions to avail of this maternity benefit. At kung hindi rin po naipadala ni employer kay SSS ang notification na sinubmit ni female member sa kanya, sinabihan na pala siya ni female member that I am pregnant. But the employer forgot to remit or transmit to SSS the female worker's notification through the my.sss, liability din yan ni employer. So if there are any disputes, controversies, or claims as to the SSS maternity leave benefits, no, our offices are open. So you may let us know kung merong concern as to the SSS maternity benefit, and this will be escalated up until our Social Security Commission or SSC. Meanwhile, kung may mga concerns naman tayo in giving out the payment of salary differential, the doors of the Dole Field Provincial Regional Offices are also open. So just let us know kung may mga ganun pong mga concerns. As to the sanctions, kapag meron po tayo mga companies or employers who will not comply to the rules stated under the EMLL or RA 11210, ito po yung mga sanctions, medyo mabigat po, no? Fine of not less than 20,000 or more than 200,000 pesos, and imprisonment of not less than 6 years and 1 day nor more than 12 years, and worse, non-renewal of business permits. Na mabigat po ang sanctions kapag hindi tayo nag-comply dito sa rules and regulations ng Expanded Maternity Leave Law or EMLL or RA 11210. And to sum up everything, no, please take note that the maternity benefit filing period is within 10 years from the date of delivery, miscarriage, or emergency termination of pregnancy. To our employed members, medyo hindi ito applicable dahil may rule tayo na kailangang i-advance within 30 days, no? Upon filing the maternity leave application, ang nasabing maternity benefit composed of the two factors, the SSS maternity benefit and the salary differential to be paid by the employer. Meanwhile, for our self-employed voluntary members, OFW non-working spouse, sila ay directly kay SSS magpa-file ng maternity benefit, and most of the time, hindi sila nakakapag-file kaagad. So kung may mga kapitbahay po tayo, kamag-anak, kaibigan, katrabaho na hindi pa file, no? Sayang naman, 10 years po ang filing period. Malay natin, kayo po ay qualified. On our end, ang mangyayari po ay titignan pa rin namin kailan ba kayo nanganak. And from there, we will check if you have the required number of contributions and if you have notified SSS during that time. So sayang po dahil benefit pa rin to at the end of the day na makakatulong po para sa ating mga expenses. All right. So that ends our presentation. Thank you, participants, for staying with us. Dito sa ating webinar, as you can see, we have discussed everything about the maternity benefit, from the definition to the eligibility requirements to the manner of payment to the filing, no, how you can file for it online na po, no? We are really capitalizing all our services in the online platform. So make sure to maximize the online platform like your my.sss account and your mobile app in filing for the maternity benefit reimbursement application for our employers and the maternity benefit application for our voluntary self-employed, OFW, and non-working spouse. And for the last part of the discussion, we did have a sample computation and some provisions. So maraming salamat po.